So my name is Peter Harding. I'm the founder and CEO of Kelvin, and we are a collaborative control software company that's focused on driving carbon impact. So we really start with a software solution that unifies the existing information that's coming out of operations around the globe. What we look for are ways in which we can improve how those individual assets are performing to be able to find and fix problems that may be leading to sort of some carbon impact. If we're able to address those problems earlier, we're able to have a much more profound impact on the carbon emissions. So what we do is we try to take into account what information is already available. So that can be operating data that's coming out of the existing system. It can be new sensor data that may be coming off of new ways and modules of understanding what's out there. And then we integrate that with our own system, which has 25 years of failure mode history and understanding of why things break. Because what that does is it allows us to very quickly understand and giving a map to be able to find where those problems are. So we start with really analytics around that. And then what we will also enable is the ability to turn the insights and the ideas of engineers and operators into actions. And that's what a copilot does. So we use our MAPS product to find where the problems are, and we use our copilot's product to really fix those problems. That's one way to think about it, right? Which is we're taking those ideas around how to improve and optimize a system that might be existing in a spreadsheet or the mind of that engineer, and we're actually turning that into a software application that can run and make those control decisions on behalf of that engineer, so they're freed up to work on higher order problems and other initiatives. Our MAPS product allows you to visualize where those problems are, so it can start with a flag, and then as you drill into that flag, it'll tell you what the actual real problem is. So if there's a deviation or some sort of anomaly in the system, what we've been able to develop is a process for finding what those are and then giving a very targeted recommendation to that engineer about what that problem might be. That gives that engineer the ability to then figure out what's the ultimate solution and the optimal solution for that problem. So that becomes, and oftentimes, a workflow around, these are the steps I would take to make it better. It really sits in the operations of the system, in the OT layer, to integrate with some of the IT infrastructure. So where we tend to focus historically is in a lot of upstream gas. We also do work in midstream and then in the completions area to be able to help optimize those parts of the solution. And more recently, what we're finding is increasing demand in manufacturing, chemicals, petrochemicals, and other categories where there's an opportunity to improve that process and to be able to maintain sort of the assets' performance at their highest possible level. So we're finding that it's really an integration of a new layer into that existing stack. So what we talk about is Kelvin is really the action layer, which is allowing those engineering insights around how to improve a process to turn into real action that drives impact. So right now we have a lot of interest in our new Carbon MAPS product, because what that's allowing folks to do is to very rapidly understand what's going on in their existing asset and process that's maybe creating those leaks and creating those emissions. So it's allowing them to get to a really quick understanding of really that root cause analysis, root cause failure analysis of what might be leading to some other bigger problem. And then it's the ability to simplify getting industrial intelligence in the hands of the engineers that they can act on. Because what's been challenging for a lot of the engineers that we've worked with historically is that they have ideas around how they want to make it better, but they don't necessarily have the tools to make it happen. And we're really creating that tool that allows that engineer to take their best ideas and turn them into actions. Really, the production engineers, the completion engineers, the people who are working in their operations to sort of maximize the performance of these systems, they're the people who use this product, day in and day out, and are able to really benefit directly. Now, it also has another very important benefit, which is the management teams and the boards of the organizations that we sell into, they've oftentimes made commitments to be able to achieve net zero goals, be able to drive to energy efficiency and better overall performance. And if their engineers are empowered and they're able to do more and be able to get to these problems faster, the benefit really accrues to the management teams who have made these important commitments to net zero that they can actually make happen. The challenge with adoption is just getting people to try. What we find is there's oftentimes a little bit of resistance because they may not believe it's possible to get this done. But what we find is if they've got the confidence to try, then it's very easy for them to see that value. So it's really being brave enough to actually go forward and make a change and try something that could be different. They can find and fix those problems faster, which are leading to the carbon impact. And so what we want to be able to do is be able to optimize a system so that you don't have to offset something later. I think historically there's been just reticence to change because it is oftentimes having to think about how do I optimize my business for, historically I was thinking primarily about production or profitability, and then to take into account this new factor, which is the emissions and the sustainability goals. That's a new challenge. That's a new optimization that they have to think about. So what we've also realized is there wasn't necessarily also the regulatory support for these types of changes, as well as in certain cases the financial support and the investors who really cared. In many countries and regions of the world, we're now seeing a lot more regulatory support for this type of change. And concurrently, we're seeing a lot of investors who are very focused on making net zero goals an important part of the investments that they're going to look at. So that's a confluence of different factors, which is sort of making this a higher priority. And along those lines, we're also seeing far better tools that are now available to actually help make this happen. And so there are multiple factors which are contributing to turning this into a reality and making these changes something that can drive real impact. So what we're going to continue to do is push our MAPS capability out across new industries, so we continue to be able to move across large industrial sectors. The other piece that we're going to continue to focus on is making it ever easier for our engineers and operators to be able to create these co-pilots. Because the more that we show that's possible, the more we're able to impact these end results.